For my presentation for my research paper, I decided to do a Prezi. My research paper was on anxiety in the mathematics classroom. So first, to start off, what is anxiety? Anxiety is one of the most common childhood psychological disorders, and it can present itself in several forms in and outside of the classroom. It's defined as a feeling of worry, nervousness, unease, and it's typically about an event or something with an uncertain outcome. Why did I choose this topic? I had a particular student in mind when starting this research paper. Student K is a selective mute and has social anxiety. She does not speak to her peers, in front of her peers, or to the teacher. She will not talk to her peers at all, and she will only talk to me in a whisper voice if I ask her a question that requires an answer other than yes or no. She also will not answer questions in front of the class, so if I would ask her a question, it would have to be more on a one-on-one setting. If you call on her in class, she just completely freezes, so we are advised not to call on her at all. And she is also talkative at home, and she's a cheerleader outside of school, so really it's only in the school setting where she gets very anxious and just can't talk to peers or in front of her peers because of that severe anxiety. Anxiety in math. While feelings of joy and enjoyment are certainly helpful and welcomed in the classroom, feelings of fear and dread seem to be a part of some classrooms where some subjects, especially math, are taught, and finding ways to prevent anxiety in the classroom are imperative to building that positive classroom climate and mindset. So in the first study was conducted by Taylor and Fraser that I looked into. The authors investigated the relationship between the learning environment and mathematics anxiety. They observed 34 different classrooms across 4 different school districts in California, totaling 745 students. This study was conducted of high school students, and I teach in an elementary setting, but I think that looking at the connection between anxiety and mathematics in any setting is helpful and beneficial. And in the second study I looked into, the authors investigated the relationship between statistic anxiety and individual characteristics and also academic anxiety. In this study, the authors studied 147 first-year college students who were enrolled in a statistic course. They happened to all be psychology majors, so they were first-year college students who were psychology majors that also happened to be guinea pigs for this study. So the results of the study. In the first study conducted by Taylor and Fraser, the results stated that more than 50% of high school students in the study experienced anxiety when in the math classroom in some form. Mathematics evaluation of anxiety showed no significant relationship within classroom environment, but learning mathematics anxiety was significantly related to several learning environment scales. So interpreting what the study results stated, anxiety was present when being evaluated in mathematics, but not directly correlated to the environment the students were in. But anxiety was present when learning mathematical skills, which was then linked to the classroom environment. The results of the second study, they found that a connection between cognitive learning strategies used in the classroom management and also procrastination has an influence on academic achievement. The researchers concluded that there was a connection between anxiety and performance statistics in the course. The authors stated that there was a limitation in their study because they used a cross-sectional design which comprised several factors into one study. So if I were to upload the original study to this, they looked at not only personality traits, procrastination, classroom management, resources. They looked at a lot of different aspects of the students, so that did play a part in the study. And since there was various aspects, like I mentioned, anxiety, learning behaviors, attitude, performance, it was difficult to draw a direct conclusion between mathematics and anxiety since so much was studied in the same study. Also, another implication of the study that I just personally found, as a recent graduate of college, I do think that your first year of college is very stressful to begin with and gives you a lot of anxiety. Just starting, a new school with new people, you're away from home. So I think studying first year college students in their first semester when taking a math course. There was also outside anxiety that they didn't factor into the study. So I did have some implications personally with that study that were not mentioned. In conclusion, the two studies conducted by Taylor and Fraser, as well as the other authors, there was not a clear solution to prevent anxiety in the classroom. The research just states that there is a connection between mathematics classrooms, the subject of math, and anxiety. In both case studies, the authors provided detailed research, well-developed abstracts, results, and presented their data clearly. Their investigation seemed to be non-biased, using various methods and tools to gather their data. However, they did not provide a possible solution or suggestion for how to limit anxiety in the classroom, and primarily the mathematics classroom. Personally, I found the studies to be a helpful insight to what can cause anxiety in the classroom, but they were not beneficial in providing a solution to the situation. Connecting it to the course and the course readings, I thought that this topic did connect to a lot of the course readings. Some of them I didn't mention on here, but the idea of the school environment and how it impacts student learning, we talked about that in discussion posts and also read several articles on it. Also in the web sessions, I found those to be very beneficial to connecting to anxiety in the classroom because those teachers included the concept of multiple intelligences in their classroom. And through observing their teaching styles, the students were motivated to learn because they were engaged. They also didn't have much classroom or evaluation anxiety because they were not aware that they were being evaluated based on their inquiry and investigations of the content. So I also think that using multiple intelligences in the classroom is a great way to limit that anxiety of students because they're engaged in so many different ways that they're not realizing that they are being assessed. And also, since you can get creative with how you are learning, some students might succeed in that because they're doing maybe a hands-on learning, which they're more beneficial at instead of a visual learning concept. And finally, I also thought that the entire article by Elizabeth Bondi was really relevant to this because she discussed how the classroom climate can influence the learners, and just her insight on different ways to create a responsive classroom and limit that classroom anxiety and build that positive classroom climate was really beneficial in connecting anxiety in the classroom to the course. My final thoughts. It is clear that there's no cut and dry way to reduce and eliminate anxiety in the classroom, especially because students may have anxiety which is caused by outside factors. Several ways to reduce anxiety held by students in the classroom are to engage the students in their learning, using mastery grading and reduce the stress of performance tasks, and create a comfortable climate for students to learn. I pulled these thoughts from several course readings, but also from viewing my classmates and fellow teachers' responses to how to handle and reduce the anxiety in the classroom. For example, in one of the discussions, one of the classmates suggested implementing the mastery grading in math specifically to help reduce the anxiety of test scores. I think that could be a very beneficial, not only in reducing anxiety over grades, but to help promote that growth mindset that Dweck talked about in the earlier modules.